Hey everyone, welcome to Princess of Gay. I'm your host Connie, and today we are here with Season 2, Episode 4 of Link Click. So, yeah, this season is turning out to be pretty interesting. Quite a murder mystery of sorts. And I have apparently been told last time, because I had the big question of who the old people were in the masks and all, that those characters were from the episode 5.5 of season 1, which I'm a little confused about. So, when an episode is listed as like 5.5 or something like that, it's usually listed, it's usually because it's like a recap episode or unimportant filler or something like that. Most of the time, a recap episode. Why would they label an episode like that if it was going to be important to the story? If it was going to introduce characters who would be important going forward? Um, like even if they had to like switch episodes around and everything for whatever reason, which is very possible. A lot of shows have had to do that. It still doesn't entirely make sense because they could have just labeled it like as another just regular episode, even if they had to switch things around. They didn't have to change it into 5.5. Because doing that makes me and a lot of other viewers automatically assume it's not important. Automatically assume it's a recap. So we don't watch it. We ignore that episode. And that's what I did. I didn't watch it. I ignored it because I didn't think it was going to be important. I thought it was going to be like just a waste of time. I was wanting to focus on the story of the main series. But learning that this episode is important, I don't know exactly how much to a degree. Like I don't know if like I'm going to need to watch it to understand anything going forward. But the fact that it is important and is going to at least explain to some degree who these characters are is really disappointing. And it's not a like a huge issue with the series as a whole or anything. It's just with how it was labeled and how it was released. It just seems like a really poor decision. And one that I personally just cannot understand for the life of me. But either way, um, we are continuing as normal here. But we are when we come back from doing this first impression or not first impressions, this donation reward appreciation week. We are going to get to episode 5.5, and excuse me, and we will be giving it a watch and everything. Yeah. I was thinking about getting to it before this, but I just with everything else, I didn't really have the time to get to that. So we're gonna get to it when we get back from the donation reward appreciation week next week. Um, and then we'll get to more link click that week in general. Anyway, since we're gonna miss next week. So yeah, just as a reminder for those who somehow may not know, um, we are doing a donation reward appreciation week next week, which means all reactions next week will be donation rewards. We're going to be getting to a lot of shows that have been on the donation reward list for a while and we just haven't gotten to. We're going to be checking out the first episode of them. Not as a first impression, because we're going to definitely be coming back to all of them pretty much, unless any of them are like really, really unfathomably bad. We're going to be coming back to all of them, and we'll just get to them at a later point. This is just to finally at least start them. You know, just so people who have been waiting for their stuff on the list forever aren't waiting as long anymore. But yeah, so that's all of next week. It's going to be donation rewards only. It's the shows that we're finally getting to. We're still doing donation reward movies and our normal 2 donation reward slots that are normally on the schedule as well. But stuff like this, which is a first impressions, will not be counted. Which means that the following week, we will have technically 2 episodes to get to. And the same goes with Jujutsu Kaisen. We'll just be getting to them basically a few days later, because we'll probably be getting to them on Monday or Tuesday of the following week. We'll just get to them then. Excuse me. And then we'll get to the new ones at the end of that week. So it's really the best thing. But, so yeah, we should be able to get to episode 5.5 from season 1 as well at the beginning of that week. So, but yeah, I wanted to address this because yeah, apparently it is an important episode, even though it's labeled as if it's not. Which, again, is entirely an issue from their end. Because, like I said, most series that do like that kind of thing where it's like, oh, this episode is a 0.5, it's usually just a recap episode. The vast majority of them that do that, it's a recap episode. So it's like, why would I have watched that? I don't like watching recap episodes. Filler is a little different. I'll watch filler, but a recap episode is completely pointless. Especially like if you're watching the series consecutively. Like if there's been a long break between, that's one thing. Like, oh, there's been over a year since the last episode. It's like, okay, then a recap episode can be worthwhile. But, like, you're watching, it's like, oh, I watched the first half of this season in the past 5 weeks. It's like, you don't need a fucking recap for that. A lot of shows do that, though. There are a lot that do that. So yeah, that's why I didn't watch that. Now, I don't know how much that episode's going to explain, also. It might just, like, barely introduce the characters and not actually explain anything about their seeming powers or whatnot. But I'm still going to check it out when we come back. So, yeah. I apologize to anyone who wished I had checked it out prior. It's just, again, I explained why. So, all that being said, we're just going to get on with this episode because we have a lot to get into. I didn't really go through, like, what happened last time, but yeah, there's a lot to deal with, like with the widow of the officer and her breakdown and everything, and what's going on with the bad guys. It's like there's still quite a bit to really match up before we get into it anyway, before we really figure out what's going on. So, That all being said, when the screen fades to black, pause this redirect and go to the description below. Follow the link to the reaction, and after you watch it, come back here to the redirect and resume play. Because after it fades to black, then fades back in, everything from that point forward will be my afterthoughts and will contain spoilers to the episode. So, that being said, thank you so much for tuning in, and I will see you at the reaction. And we are back, and we'll begin with spoilers in 3, 2, 1, now. So, we have another dive. It feels like it's been a while, you know? But we have another dive here. And it's diving into the picture that the mysterious hooded person, who might be Shishi, gave to Lu Guang. And if this is Shishi, what is her game? What is she trying to do? Because that's the diver, right? Or am I mistaken? I don't know anymore. Maybe she's not the diver. Maybe the diver is someone else. But Ma seemed to recognize her, right? I don't even know anymore. But either way, we find out that the picture that when Lumen had stolen the phone, obviously while possessed, the picture of Shan, or I think, hold on, let's try this again. When Lumen had kidnapped Shan while being possessed, he used her phone and sent a message to a dead person who I'm thinking is the mother here. Who I'm thinking is Shishi's mother. Because the imagery here shows like them talking about like, oh, who would send to a dead person? And it's like flipping back to show the mother being approached by someone from behind. I'm thinking that Shishi ended up seeing her mother killed in front of her. I don't know for what reason or whatnot. And now she's trying to help stop that? That's what it kind of seems like to me, but it's like, there's got to be more to this, right? And if she is the diver, then why can't she stop? And why has she been doing all this stuff in the first place? It doesn't entirely add up to me. There's got to be someone else. Someone else is, I think, the one who was controlling Qiao Ling and everyone. I don't think that was this. I don't think that was Shishi. And I don't know. I don't know. This is so interesting. It gets me so like it gets me questioning everything, and I just don't know what's the truth anymore. But we'll continue to see as we watch, of course. But we find out that Shishi was at least mute as a child. When Shaoxi goes back into her during the dive. We see that she was going to a doctor to try and get help, and nothing really seemed that like super out of the ordinary. Because there are people all over the world who have had to deal with like their kids being like mute and whatnot for various reasons. Sometimes it can be due to trauma. Sometimes it can be due to some kind of illness and whatnot. There's a lot of reasons for it, and it definitely has happened plenty of times. Sometimes it's autism even. And sometimes the kids learn to speak and start to speak later on. Sometimes it takes a lot more effort. It's just kind of up in the air. So the fact is, it seems like the police were communicating with who we assume is Shishi, because they were told, it's like that Shishi will only speak to Chen Xiaoxi. So, unless this isn't Shishi, and unless this person, or whether the person can talk or not, could still be Shishi, but unless the person, you like wrote it down or something, like maybe use sign language, then I don't know. I'm trying to figure everything out, and it's just I'm so not confused, but just unclear about everything going on. Things are just so unclear to me, and in a very good way. I want to make that clear. None of my confusion here is negative. I'm very invested in this series, and this is just getting me more so because it's exciting to not know what's happening. I know that sounds weird, but think about it. It allows for a much more interesting reaction. And on top of that, it's fun to watch something in general and not know where it's going to go. It's more mysterious and more fascinating, especially if you can start to figure it out. And when you start to figure it out, you feel accomplished when you get to that point. But if you can't, it feels so exciting because it's like, oh, some kind of mystery series where I actually can't figure it out because it's so well written. It's like, hell yeah, hell yeah. Why wouldn't you want something like that? It's so good. It's so good. But I am so lost. I don't know where this is going, and I'm excited about that. But it's like I'm constantly in my mind, in my subconscious, trying to figure it out, but I can't think of anything. I have no clue, and I don't even know if that is Shishi. It's like it looked like they had pink hair, but it's like it might be a mistake, like or not a mistake, like a misdirect, a purposeful misdirect. Like, what if it's actually the mother? What if Shishi's the one who died? Like, what if the name that was given was Shishi's actual name? What if Shishi's a nickname? On top of that, what if there is a brother? And the brother found out that, like, maybe both of them died. There's a lot of questions. A lot of questions and a lot of possibilities. And I don't know what to expect here. But like I said, I'm very invested because now when Xiaoxi comes out of the photo, we know that whoever this mysterious hooded person is going to want to speak to him. So we'll see how that goes down. Um, this has been fantastic. This has been utterly great. Um, it's very different from season one, so it's honestly I feel too early to say whether or not it's better. Um, we're definitely gonna have to see how it continues to go. But now we understand something more from the opening, the plush toy that's shown at the very beginning and very end of the opening in the claw machine. Um, Now that has come to be understood. We know what that is referencing. There's a lot in the opening that we see. Like, we see this hooded person in the opening. Let me go to that real quick. I'll mute it so we don't get copyright issues here, but um okay, so at the beginning of the opening here, let me get to it. Here we go. So yeah, at the beginning it shows like this decrepit like city like area, and it comes upon these claw machines, and we know what now we know those are the claw machines that they were playing. And we see a stuffed toy. It looks a little different than the stuffed toy in the episode, but that's not a big deal. It's more representative, I guess. We see the stuffed toy start to rise and all. At the end, it falls back down into the machine and all. So we understand like the representation of that. But as the opening continues, um, we see obviously Lu Guang and Xiaoxi. Hold on, I think I skipped it here for a second. So we see a flash of Emma there, and then other characters, Kiao Ling and various ones just flipping through. Hold on, I missed it, but it'll come back because it's it goes in reverse after that point. Well, a little too far. So yeah, there's the part you see this stuffed toy like twisting, and it like turns into like this monster thing. In the first when it's first going through, the monster turns into the stuffed toy. Then you see the hooded person here. So the hooded person, in this case, going backwards at the end, comes afterwards, but still. You see, it's very brief. It's like it doesn't really give you like a hugely good look, but you see a face with the red eyes, which makes me assume that this is the diver. Plus, also the person does know Xiaoxi's name, Cheng Xiaoxi's name, so it's got to be the diver. But you don't get a really good look. Like you don't see the pink hair during that. So I'm kind of wondering if it is the same person or not. I don't think there's any other part in the opening where it shows. No. There's not really another part where it shows that person, so. This is just fascinating. I am just super invested in this series, even more than ever. But yeah, like I said in the pre-thoughts, we will be getting to the next episode, not next week, but the early on the week after, just because next week is that the donation reward appreciation week. And also on that week after, we will also be getting to 5.5 of the first season, just to get some context for those three old people who were in the last episode. I don't know how important it's going to be to the story of this season, but there's at least going to be something to that. So we'll watch that as well come that week. But in the meantime, tell me in the comments below, what did you think of this episode of Link Click? Let me know your thoughts, and for now, I'm Connie, and I'm signing off. See y'all next time.